Femke Bol has just made one of the bravest decisions of any athlete at the top of track and field, because she is taking herself away from the 400-meter hurdles, an event which, let's be honest, she was almost guaranteed a gold medal in, especially with Sydney Mclaughlin Levrone gone, and instead is immediately moving up to the battleground that is the women's 800-meter to compete with several women who appear to be in 154 shape going into 2026. But despite how competitive this event is, I have good reason to believe that Femke Bol will break the 800-meter world record by the end of 2028. In this video, I will reveal exactly why I think she will excel in this distance, but also the two factors that could seriously impede her progress. But before this, let's get some context on this world record that I think Bol has a genuine shot at breaking. As a reminder, the current time to beat is a ridiculous 1:53.28 ran by Czechoslovakian athlete Jarmila Kratochvílová. And to give you an idea of how obscene this world record is, it is one of only two 1:53 times ever ran and has stood as a world record for over 40 years. When you look at the dominance and talent of the likes of Keely Hodgkinson and Mo, they were barely within 1.5 seconds of achieving that time at their personal peaks. And this is despite the age of super tracks, super spikes, and of course, bicarb helping them all out. Of course, there isn't a universal suspicion amongst fans around this record, given it has been so dominant for so long and was run during the EPO era of athletics. Although looking at Jarmila, she must have been taking a little more than that to run this time. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. But back to Bol. Why do I think she'll be so successful as an 800 runner? Looking at her profile as an athlete, she has by far the best 400-meter time of the top-ranked 800-meter runners in the world, giving her a natural advantage in speed. Most top-ranked athletes hang around 50 to 51 seconds, whereas Bol has run 49.17 seconds. What's more, this time came on an indoor track in Glasgow, so you would think she can go even faster outdoors and with someone to push her in the final 100 meters. But despite her excellent speed, the main reason I think she will be so good in the 800 is actually her endurance profile. She is quite different to someone like Sydney Mclaughlin Levrone, who is clearly a speed-oriented individual with competitive 200 and 100 meter times along with a very powerful build. Bol has a much lighter and lankier frame that will allow for less powerful but more efficient strides suitable for the longer distances. And when we look at some of the best 800-meter runners in history, many of them have that long limb build that allowed them to glide effortlessly at 800-meter pace. The best example of this on the men's side is David Rudisha, who has one of the most beautiful strides in running history. And when you look at Bol's Olympic 400-meter relay race, you can see similar results in just how effortless her form is. Her movement really comes from a long gliding motion rather than trying to push into the ground and power away like her competitors. Her form is so good that it makes it look like she barely exerted any energy during her races. Take her 400-meter indoor world record, which had many people convinced she barely broke a sweat running this time. However, when you look at the splits, her first 200-meter was 2 seconds faster than her second 200-meter. So I think she must have been at her limit, or else she would have closed harder. It's just her form looks so effortless, it gives the illusion that she could have gone faster. There is very little wasted movement, which will only suit her the further she moves up. On the women's side, you can see this languid style with the likes of Mo, who is probably the most talented women's 800 runner of all time. Even when we look at the current world champion Liliana Odera, she again has a more lanky build. But then we have people like Marileidy, who have comparatively average 800-meter PBs, but are much better in the 400-meter. Her form is by no means pretty, but she thrives at causing chaos from the front of the race. Mora normally keeps the pace tactical for the first lap and then uses her superior 400 speed to kick away. And I don't think it's a coincidence she is more short and stocky and struggled with moving up the distances in Grand Slam track last season. This is not to say shorter runners can't be aerobic machines, but Bol's smooth running style combined with her distance physique makes me think she will be really suited to the endurance side. It's also why I question if Marileidy Paulino, double world champion and Olympic gold medalist in the 400 meter, will really do well in the 800. She has announced in response to Femke Bol's move that she will also be giving the 800 a go, although just as a test. Paulino is the epitome of a powerful, speed-based runner. She too has solid 200-meter times for a non-specialist runner. It's clear by her form as well that her ability is not so much from long, smooth, efficient mechanics, but is from raw power and speed. Now, the 800-meter is an event where someone with a lot of natural speed can come in and do well without much training. It's why we see so many young talents in this event. But in terms of long-term potential, I'm not sure I see Paulino doing super well. She is a little too powerfully built and might respond poorly to having to run twice the distance. Her lack of indoor and relay experience also exposes her in a key area I will get onto soon. But how would Bol fare in a head-to-head race between her and the likes of Keely Hodgkinson? Well, we know that Keely likes to take advantage of her strength in the 800 and lead from the front, often at quite an aggressive pace. And I imagine she will continue this tactic as it ensures only the top athletes can keep up with her. It definitely makes sense to do this with Bol in the short term, as she won't have as developed an aerobic system and will be more lethal in a tactical race. Keely also seems to be building into some all-time form as well. She ran multiple 154s this season despite being injured for a large large chunk of the year. Her Athlos time also shows that even in off periods, she can lead fast races well, so you would expect her to start 2026 in near PB shape. And I'm sure she's also eyeing up the world record in 2026, which she's going to need to front run to get. And even though I think Bol will develop her aerobic system quickly, it would be mind-blowing if she was in 154 shape this coming season. So I'm assuming that she cannot rely on beating the top 800 runners on pure strength alone, at least in the short term. So in order to win, she can maybe talk with someone like Marileidy, who has beaten Keely on multiple occasions with sharp, chaotic tactics, despite having a much slower PB. Maybe Bol could initially challenge Keely the same way by trying to control from the front and then using her far superior speed to sprint away in the last lap. Even oscillating the pace could be a legitimate strategy, as the hurdles require small bursts of energy which would build tolerance for small spikes of lactic in Femke compared to a fairly linear 800 race. But a big disadvantage in trying these tactics and in the 800 meter in general that Bol will have against Keely is that the 800 is a super tactically nuanced and physical event. Pack running is not something a lot of 400 meter athletes are used to, as they get their own separate lanes, and in the 800, being a good tactician can make or break your race. It's easy enough to be strong when you have the space around you, but having to constantly check your stride, figure out other people's movement, and make your own plans drains you physically as much as it does mentally. And this is actually something Keely herself pointed out in response to the news that Femke was moving up.
I wish her all the best, and I think she's got the talent to do really well in the 8. It might take some time to, get up, learn the event, and learn a whole new, she's never ran in a people around you trying to disrupt your race. That's a whole different ball game. But yeah, I think she'll smash.
Whilst I think trying to control from the front is a viable strategy by Bol, whether she will have the experience and ability to pull it off is another question. Now, in fairness, she does have some pack running practice from both her indoor races and the relay work, but these two environments cannot compare. It doesn't help that she's often massively leading her races and therefore has all the space in front of her. There are also just not that many people in an indoor 400 meter, so it's just not that crowded. How will she react to the 8 to 12 woman fields that the Diamond League puts out? Will she be able to assert her position when she has multiple people running on either side and pushing her inwards? Anyone who's ever run an 800 meter knows it's a contact race. The distance is too fast for anyone to ever feel comfortable settling in, and so you get a lot of jostling and edgy nerves going on. When looking at Bol in particular, it's worsened by her history of falling in her specialist distance. She infamously fell at the line in the 2023 mixed relays in the Budapest Championships and hinted this has been an issue for her since she was a child. She was falling so much that a doctor recommended she take judo lessons to learn how to fall safely. There is also the strategic issue she will face. The 800 meter is very easy to mess up tactically, as it's so short you only really get one big move. However, I do believe there are some practical measures she can take to avoid these issues. One of the key ones is keeping a simple but strong strategy of just following Keely in major championships. The Brit enjoys leading from the front, so just let her do all the work and tuck in closely behind or on the shoulder. If she can learn to get a good position in the break, which hopefully some of her indoor 400 meter experience can kick in, then sitting and kicking on Keely seems like her best strategy. It would hopefully avoid her getting stuck in traffic in the middle of the pack, and it's also a pretty simple race plan that should be fairly easy to execute. On top of that, of course, she just needs to run a bunch of 800s. I would be surprised if Femke is seriously challenging for the top spot in 2026, but since there are no championships in the coming season, this is the perfect time to try things out. Even if she is aerobically strong for a 400 meter runner, she will still need to take time to build up her endurance, and we need to be respectful of the current podium on the women's side because they are very strong right now. Not only is Keely a threat, but you have Lillian O'Dira, Hunter Bell, Audrey Werrow, and many others that will be in the mix. But once we enter 2027, I think Bol will have some good aerobic training behind her and more experience running in a pack. Assuming this is the case, I think she will be a real gold medal threat and could have a shot at the world record. Not only will she have great endurance, but she'll maintain most of that speed that she has had in the 400 meter. And that perfect combo will equip her for any race situation. Hopefully her and Keely can continue the rivalry the Brits had with their thing Mo that may have pushed both of them into 153 territory. We saw how Sydney joining the 400 meter pushed Paulino to new heights, and I believe Femke can do the same to Keely. If she can stay healthy and in good form, that record is just a matter of time. The real question is if she can keep her calm in the chaos of the 800. Click here to view a video that YouTube recommends you watch. Let's see if they're right. How do you think Femke Bol will transition to the 800 meter? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy training.